With that, we'll recognize the Oversight Ranking Member, a gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the Ranking Member as well. And I would like to pose a question related to a bill emanating from the Texas Senate, SB 147. This bill has language in it that indicates the following may not purchase or otherwise acquire title to real property in this state. And it goes on to set out individuals who cannot purchase or acquire real property. A person who is a citizen of China is listed, Iran, North Korea, as well as Russia. This has caused a good deal of consternation among many of my constituents. I think that it's difficult for some people who are not of color or from a minority, occupy a minority status, to understand how legislation as well as language can impact what they perceive as their safety. People are legitimately concerned, in my opinion, about their safety because of this legislation, which singles out persons from China. By the way, the bill doesn't make an exception for a green card holder, although the person who has crafted this now says that such an exception will be available. The legislation doesn't make mention of sensitive sites or critical infrastructure. Just says if you're a citizen of China, you can't buy property. Let me start with Mr. Harrell. Sir, do you understand how this can first impact people in the social setting? And then I'd like for your comments about the Pandora's box we may be opening if we allow every state to decide that it will make rules or promulgate laws that will impact the purchase of property based upon citizenship of persons.
Thank you very much, Congressman, for both those questions. I should begin by saying I think it is essential that as we compete with China and with the Chinese government, we as Americans never slide down the road of discriminating against people based on their race or their ethnic or national origin. I think we want to make clear that we continue to welcome talented Chinese engineers and talented Chinese people of all backgrounds to come to the U.S. to set up businesses and take advantages of the opportunities here, and we should not be discriminating against people based on their national origin. I think there are legitimate concerns around certain purchases of real estate by companies and certain individuals connected to China. That's why in 2018, the CFIUS committee got jurisdiction to review purchases of land or leases of land near sensitive military sites. If there are ways in which that statute is inadequate, if there are other kinds of sites or infrastructure where we are concerned about, and the defense and intelligence community are concerned about espionage risks, this committee should look at CFIUS and see if CFIUS needs a little bit more jurisdiction over other kinds of real estate purchases. I don't think we want to see a patchwork of state laws prohibiting ownership of property based on national origin. That's just not the right way to tackle this kind of a problem. This is a federal problem, and it also comes off as hostile to the many legitimate, sort of perfectly fair kinds of purchases that are out there.
Thank you much. Let me quickly move on because I have 39 seconds left. If you believe that we must, absolutely must raise the debt ceiling, would you kindly extend a hand into the air? Only one person believes that we must raise the debt ceiling. Now 3, Okay. If
Are you asking the committee as well?
No, I'm going to make an exception for the chairman.
Thank you.
Would you give me 10 seconds now? Raise your hands again, please. I want to have this, I'm going to have a picture of this in my office. So everybody believes we should. Okay, we should raise it. We must. It's easy. Okay, do you believe that we must cut the budget to raise it?
Gentleman's time's expired. Appreciate
Mr.
the
Chairman,
hand raising.
can I get my 10 seconds that you borrowed from me for that answer, please? Just for
Without objection, I'd give the gentleman an additional 7 seconds that I took from him.
All right, thank you. Would you raise your hand if you think we must cut the budget to raise it? 3. Thank you. I'll make sure that we properly photograph you. Thank you. I yield back.
Well, if we reset the time, I don't want to take anyone else's time. I thank the experts on China for your opinions about domestic American politics and for complying with the oddness of hand raising in a congressional format. From time to time, we all do it. It happens. With that,